just let's put this in perspective. The world is just incredibly energy poor. So there are 6 billion people in the world that, like you and I, Rita, and your viewers would consider their level of energy use totally unacceptable. So the world is incredibly energy poor. We have 3 billion people using less electricity than a typical US refrigerator uses. So in that context, the world needs as much energy as it can get. And natural gas is particularly good. It's very clean burning. It's very reliable. It's versatile. You can use it for a lot of different things. It's saved a lot of lives, even from indoor air pollution, because you can burn it so cleanly. Like, we need way more of it. And the US has an incredible capacity to export it without increasing prices, because we just have so much of it. Our domestic production is so good, but it's strangled by lack of pipelines, and it's strangled by lack of what are called LNG, liquefied natural gas export facilities. So in this context, Joe Biden should obviously be doing everything he can to liberate natural gas. And instead, what he says is, hey, I'm preventing you from expanding LNG in the future. Well, of course, that's bad for the world's poor. That's bad for the world's everyone, not to have access to a low cost, reliable, clean source of energy in a world that needs far more energy. And if you look at the mechanics behind this, he was influenced by TikTok influencers, and he's trying to get the quote unquote climate vote. So I hope the youth of America wake up and recognize energy matters a lot more than how many parts per million of CO2 are in the atmosphere. And by the way, us restricting LNG doesn't lower that at all. If anything, it raises it.
Now, before you go, many say that Australia is uniquely vulnerable to the impact of net zero policies because though we sit on the world's biggest reserves of uranium, we have a nuclear ban in place here. So we cannot rely on cheap, reliable baseload power that nuclear can provide. What would energy security be like in this country, Alex, if we continue down the renewables path without nuclear energy, if we keep closing coal plants and banning gas exploration?
I mean, I'm just trying to communicate how bad this is. So maybe an example that would be useful is agriculture. I think everyone agrees that food is very important to human life. So agriculture has two basic requirements to feed 8 billion people, including all of the people in Australia. You need really good concentrated fuel for agricultural equipment so that we can mass produce agriculture without everyone being involved in farming. And that today there's nothing close to diesel fuel, which is based on oil. And then we need global fertilizer, and we have no near-term substitute for natural gas. So you're talking about destroying the basis of food. I mean, and then even if you could replace fossil fuels for electricity, that doesn't solve the agriculture problem. And then for electricity, solar and wind, it's really simple. They're not reliable. And if they're not reliable, they can go to near zero at any given time, which means you need near 100% backup or life support. What happens if you're shutting down fossil fuels and nuclear? You don't have the life support, and so you have an unreliable grid. We're seeing this, and we're seeing this in California and Texas already.